Hey guys, I'm Anna from Studio A, and today I've taken over the Beauty Hooked Snapchat to talk about my experience at the Mario's Makeup Masterclass that I attended last year. His muse was Kim Kardashian, and she was present at the class also. And I'll be talking about all the techniques that I learned there, all the little makeup tricks that can make a big difference in your daily makeup routine, and how you can achieve those with some very simple techniques and simple tricks, which is not even difficult. I'll be recreating the same look with a few changes which are more because they are important for our skin tone, because what he did was good for people who are celebrities or in the limelight or going on TV. That kind of a look is not applicable for our daily use or even at weddings, because that was a red carpet look that he did. Okay, so before I start, the most important thing that in makeup is skin. So you need to have good skin for the makeup to look good on you. Kim Kardashian herself was telling us about how she gets laser treatments done and how she gets facials done and how much she invests in her skin. And even when she came for the class, she had a very well moisturized skin. She had no makeup on. She just had some face oil and a moisturizer on, and which shows even after all those treatments that she does, which she can afford, of course, those laser treatments and vampire facials and so many things, she is still investing herself into her skin, which is her daily makeup routine: moisturizing your skin, taking off the makeup before you go to bed. So all these things, they play a big role on how the makeup looks and in the end, because bad skin cannot give you that flawless finish. Yeah, so the first thing is that you should have good skin. So you should invest in skincare products more than you invest in expensive makeup. So because no amount of makeup can make your skin good. So firstly, you need to invest in a good skincare routine, and you should take care of your skin. Get a good moisturizer. Don't leave the house without a sunblock. If you have dry skin, make sure you get a good face oil. If you have oily skin, you should try mattifying moisturizers also, and they have, because oily skin also tends to get acne, so you need to invest in scrubs, cleansers, toners to remove the oil from the skin. So I have combination skin. My T-zone tends to get oily at times, but other than that, my skin is normal. Yeah, so what I did today is I used these L'Oreal wipes to wipe off any makeup residues left on my skin, of course after washing my face. And then I applied a moisturizer, which Mario recommended to all of us also in his class, is by Kiehl's, the Ultra Facial Moisturizer. This is the moisturizer, which I have been using for a year now, and I really like it. It comes in two forms. One is with the sunblock and one is without the sunblock. I personally like both, but the one with the sunblock is slightly thicker, and this is more creamy and more liquidy, and it makes the foundation blend in well with the skin also. Now, a very important tip that Mario follows is he does not apply primer of any sort on any skin, because if you notice his makeup, you will see that the skin looks flawless and the makeup does not look cakey. Alright, so I've applied the moisturizer on my skin now, and we'll start with the eyes first, because if there's any fallout, it just ruins the concealing and the foundation below. So we'll do a step-by-step just like Mario, and I'll be talking about all the little things that he was telling us along the way. So first he did the eyebrows. Before the eyes, he did the eyebrows. I do not fill in my eyebrows, so I'll be just brushing them out. But if you need to fill in your eyebrows, you should fill them in first, because the eyebrows are the guideline for the eye makeup, because you'll know where to blend and where should the eyeliner finish, where to wing the eyeliner. So the eyebrows act as a guideline for the eyes makeup, for it to look symmetrical on the face. So do your eyebrows first, and at the end of the makeup you can just go back and give it some final touches. So don't worry about foundation going into the eyebrows. So the eyebrows are the first thing that you should do, and number two, you should do the eyes. Yeah, so what he did was he used cream based shadows on the lid, and he just did matte powders on the crease. And even for the inner corner and the lower lid, he was using more pencils and less powder eyeshadows. So I'll be using the same technique today also. I've just brushed out my eyebrows to make them look a little more neat. I haven't applied anything on my eyebrows, but if you do fill in your eyebrows, you should do it before you start the eyes. Alright, so I'll be using the Tom Ford cream eyeliner or cream color for the eyes. It's number 7. It's Midnight Violet. So I'll be applying this on my lid. So I'm using 2 of those cream based gel liners or cream shadows. One is by Tom Ford that I just talked about, and the other one is by Bobbi Brown. It's in the number 5 Smoky Topaz. So I'm going to take a flat brush. For the lid, always take a flat brush. Never take a fluffy brush, because then it goes up into the crease and then it does not give the same effect. So yeah, so make sure you start off from the outer corner and build the color towards the inner corner. I'm not using this color on the inner corner over here because I'm going to use a highlighter over there, and I don't want, because this is a darker bronzy shade, so I don't want it over there. Only apply this on the lid. Do not go up on the crease, because on the crease we will be using the powder shadows, not the glossy ones, because always on the crease we should go for matte shadows instead of glossy, because otherwise it doesn't give dimension and the depth the eyes need. The lid can be sparkly and glittery, but the crease needs to be matte. So I'm done with both the eyes, the lid with one shade. Now we're going to move on to another shade, which is also cream based. It's by Tom Ford. Now it's a little purpley plummy shade, but it is dark and it will give a lot of dimension to the outer corner of the eye. I'm not going to bring it all the way into the lid. I'm going to use it on the outer corner of the eye. Now next I'm using this color Sweet Heat by MAC. It's also a creamy shadow, and I'm using with my finger, using it only over here in the inner corner of the eyes and the lid, towards the inner lid, not on the outer corners, because that needs to be darker than this. This is a shimmery color, so it's just going to highlight the inner corners of the eyes and just give more of a definition to this side of the eye also. So I'm using my finger because with these pigmented shades, it's better to use the fingers, because with the brush there's a lot of fallout and it doesn't give the same effect either. So for that I'm using the finger. Now for the crease, I'm going to be using a master palette by Mario, the ABH one. So this is the master palette, so I've been using it a lot, and the 3 shades that I'll be using are these 3 for the crease: Violet, Isabel and Lula. So I'll be using these 3 combined. I'll mix them and I'll be using them on my crease. These are matte shades, the rest are glittery and sparkly and pressed glitter and shimmery, especially this one. The one he used, named after Kim, is this one. It's really nice, especially for the brow line and the inner corners. It's a very nice color. But for now I'll be using these 3 for the crease. So I've mixed the 3 colors and I've applied them on my blending brush. This is by Sigma in E40, and make sure it's any fluffy brush that you have. Tap off the excess and just apply it on the crease in circular motions. First place the product and slowly blend it like that. All the harsh edges by the cream shadow also, and gives it a very nice blended look. The strokes need to be really soft. Do not apply pressure on the brush, otherwise it will just start taking off those cream shadows. So this is what the eyes will look like after blending the crease. Make sure you flick it upwards and then blend it into circular motions. Don't bring it out straight because it will make the eyes look weird. Make sure that it's lifted so it will make the eyes look bigger, and the eyeshadows will pop out more like that. Always do the same steps on both the eyes. Never complete one eye first and then move on to the second eye, because then I usually forget these steps. So that's what I was talking about. Never do the foundation first, because there's always fallout with these shadows, and then no matter how much you try to take it off or just wipe it off, it will leave a shade on the under eyes, and this area is supposed to be the brightest on the face for the eyes to pop out, for the face to look slimmer. So you need to make sure you do not apply the foundation, especially when you're using powder eyeshadows on the eyes. You always do the eyes first and then move on to the foundation. So now that I'm done with the upper lid, I've just wiped off any fallout with my makeup removing and cleansing wipes by L'Oreal, like that. This gives you the exact angle at which you should wing your liner. So mostly when people cannot wing the liners properly, now when you're using eyeshadows, you always blend them and then wipe off the excess. What that does is it gives you a clear angle at which the wing should be at. So then it's easier for you to make sure to wing both the liners, and they will look exactly the same, because you are wiping off the excess at the angle of the eyebrow, where the eyebrow ends. So that's why it's important to do the eyebrows first, and you're cleaning up the under eye at the angle of the eyebrows. So now you have the perfect lines for the liner also. Now we're done with the upper lid. I'm just going to use a black pencil over the lid and then blend it, just to give it a more smoky effect. So what I'm doing now is I'm just drawing a straight line across the lid with a black pencil, like that. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to blend it. I'm going to do one eye first because it usually dries out and then it doesn't blend that well. I'm using an angled brush. You can use any brush to blend the line with the rest of the makeup. So as I said earlier, Mario layers his makeup. Now I'm using this pencil, I'm blending it in, and then this is the first layer of a liner. And then he used an eyeliner separately. He used a gel-based liner. You can use whichever liner you use, a marker liner, a liquid liner, gel-based liner. So basically he layered everything. So it gives a more flawless, finished look across the lid. It doesn't have to be perfect because we have to blend it just like that, and we're using the same angled brush to blend it out. So this is what the eyes look like after I've blended the black pencil. Now I'm going to use a liner by Bobbi Brown for the winged liner. You can use a gel liner, liquid liner, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you find is easier to use. I am going to start it from the outer corner like that, and I'm going to draw a line across the... So I'm done with the liner on both the eyes. As you can see, I've used the liner just on the same angle as the eyeshadow. The light is making this eye look a little darker than this one, but they look exactly the same. After I'm done, I'm going to show it to you in the natural light also, so you know it looks exactly the same. So now we're going to just highlight the brow bone. I'm using the color, the same color from his master palette. I'm using Fifth Avenue by this one, with as long as it's precise, and just highlight the brow bone like that. So this is what the eyes look like in the mirror. I think this light is better for you to see the depth and how dark the eyes and the colors look. I'm just mixing Fifth Avenue with Hollywood. It's another shimmery shade, or you can just... So now I'm going to do the under eyes. For that, Mario also used a pencil and he blended it a bit with the powder, but mostly he used a pencil, so I'm going to be using a pencil also. It's also by Urban Decay. This is a two-sided pencil, the black, and this is well, I can't see the color on it. It's Pistol. So it's a bronzy shade. I'm going to apply it on the inner corner of the under eye and right across the lower lash line. So after applying the pencil under the eyes, I'm using the same brush that I use for the blending the black on the upper lid, just to smooth out the edges and just to make it look slightly darker. I'm also going to apply a bit of the rusty shade from the palette by the name Isabel on the under eyes, just to make it match the upper lid slightly. Alright, so now that we're done with the lower lash line also, I'm just going to apply a black pencil inside the eyes. So we're done with the eyes. I'm just going to do the mascara in the end. I'm not going to be using lashes because I personally don't need them. But if you want to go for lashes, you should go for individual lashes instead of the whole strip. Mario also applied individual lashes on Kim. They give a better look and they look less fake than the strip. So if you have lashes, go for individual lashes and apply them separately on all across the lash line. Now I'm going to move on to the skin. I'm going to be using Peach Color by Dior for the under eyes concealing. Mario used color by Bobbi Brown. He had the whole kit, but because every day you do not need the whole kit, so this is very good. This color suits my skin tone also. So I really like this one by Dior. It has a moisturizer in the center, so it does not let the under eye area crease also, because if it's moisturized properly, mostly people say that their under eyes crease after a while. That's because you use too many dry products, and if you have dry skin, do not bake the under eye area. It will make your concealer and your foundation crease under the eyes because it's already dry. Now Peach basically conceals any form of darkness, and on our Asian skins this area is usually a little darker, so it's always good to use it on these outer side of these lips. And green conceals any redness, like I have a small pimple on this cheek. I'll be using green by Dior, but in the green color to conceal that. So I'm using a wet damp beauty blender to blend the peach and green concealer on my skin. Instantly it brightens up the area because peach basically eliminates all darkness. Even if you don't have dark circles, you should use peach because it brightens the area up. If you have very deep dark circles, then you should go for orange. Depending upon the dark circles, you can choose the color accordingly. Using this Tarte concealer under the eyes like that. He used layers of concealer. First he used the NARS Radiant Concealer. Then he used cream concealer by Bobbi Brown. On top of that, he used a powder to highlight it. But I feel if you have Tarte, you do not need so many layers because it has very, very good coverage. So you do not need so many. I'm just going to apply a bit on the T-zone. So I've blended the concealer using a beauty blender and I've pressed it into the skin. I did not use any primer on my skin because Mario believes that, this was a tip I learned from him, that if you apply primer on the skin, it does not let the foundation blend with the skin. Now what happens is that a primer is like a sheet on top of the skin and it does not let the foundation sit or blend with the skin. In a way, it's good that the skin is not directly affected by the makeup, but it does not give that dewy, flawless, natural finish to it because a primer will give a slight made up look. But so if you have oily skin, you should only use the primer on the T-zone and never apply it all over the face, not on the cheeks, because the cheeks then tend to look very cakey and the makeup will not look flawless and dewy in the end. So if you have oily skin, only apply the primer on the T-zone, and if you have dry skin, you do not need a primer people who say that the skin, the foundation starts to crack because they have dry skin, invest in a good face oil. You need to prep the skin before you start makeup. If you have oily skin, you need to prep it accordingly. If you have dry skin, you need to prep it in a way that the foundation stays on longer. So for dry skin, I would recommend that you use a Farsali oil or any face oil. Now we have so many available in Pakistan also, made in Pakistan also. So you could invest in a face oil. Now moving on to the foundation, I'm using one tone lighter foundation than my skin tone, and the concealer always needs to be 2 to 3 tones lighter than your skin tone. Not too light, and it should not be exactly like your skin tone, because its job is to make the area look brighter than the rest of the face. So you have to make sure it's at least 2 tones lighter than your skin tone. Foundation should not be more than 1 tone lighter than your skin tone, because it tends to look gray otherwise. So go for just a tone lighter than your skin tone. I'm using the Giorgio Armani Silk Foundation, and it gives very good coverage. You can build it up to full coverage also. I personally do not like stick foundations on my skin. Yeah, so I've applied the foundation with my finger on all over my skin. Now while applying foundation, you need to make sure that you use either an oval brush or you use a kabuki brush. Never use a flat brush because it tends to give streaks. And it does not give a very nice finish. And do not apply the foundation I do not personally apply the foundation directly with a beauty blender, because it wastes a lot of product. Use a kabuki or an oval brush to apply the foundation, so you are not wasting any product, because the beauty blender absorbs all the foundation and then you're just basically wasting all the product. Use this kind of a brush, this kind of an oval brush. This is by MAC, but you can find these easily everywhere now. So use an oval brush or a kabuki brush to apply the foundation, and then so once I'm done with applying the foundation, then I will be using the beauty blender just to give it a smooth blended look, and so that it does not look cakey at all. Do not use the beauty blender as the foundation applicator itself, because it will waste a lot of product. So I'm applying this powder foundation by Bobbi Brown in the shade 3.5. So I'm applying this powder foundation by Bobbi Brown in the shade 3.5. All over the foundation, just dabbing it on the skin. Don't use too much product, just to make sure the foundation sits in its place. Now another tip by Mario was never mix cream products with powder products. Before you apply any cream product or any powder product, make sure there's a layer in between. Now I've applied all my cream products, like the powder liquid foundation. I used my moisturizer. Now I'm using this as a barrier between the powder and the cream products, because if you don't have a barrier in between, they will look mushy and muddy in the end. It will not give a clean finish. So now I'm using a loose powder by Laura Mercier, this translucent powder, just to set the under eye area and also to create the sandbag effect. Now what is a sandbag technique is, you apply loose powder over here, so it acts as a barrier between the eye makeup and the rest of the skin, so that it does not bleed out, or it does not melt, or it does not move from its place. Now this will not only brighten up the under eyes, it will also make sure that the eyes makeup does not move from its place. Yeah, so I'm done with the loose powder. Now I'm going to use a small kabuki brush, or this kind of brush, just to take a bit of loose powder on top of it. You can use a kabuki brush or any fluffy brush that you have, and just airbrush the entire face. Brush just to take a bit of loose powder on top of it. You can use a kabuki brush or any fluffy brush that you have, and just airbrush the entire face with it. Don't use too much product. What this will do is, it will not let the powder contour, and now we're just left with the powder products, the blush and the contouring powder or the bronzer. or the highlighter to blend with the foundation, so it does not give a very muddy and mushy look. So I've not used too much product, it's just a little bit of product, and I'm just blending off all the excess from my face, even from the forehead, and this will also make the foundation last longer, especially for oily skin. Now we're going to move on to the most important part, in which we all love, is Kim's contour. Now Mario also used the Hoola contour, and he used cream contour underneath, but that's because they like a very bronzed look. We Asian people, we do not like a very bronzed look because that makes us look too dark. They like the darker look, we don't. So I'm not using a cream contour. If you want to use it, you have to apply it before you apply the loose powder all over the face, and before you set it with the powder foundation. It should be right after you apply the liquid foundation, otherwise it will not blend well. Now for the contour, now the guideline is always the top part of the ear, and it should come down in line with the outer corner of the lip. It should not be below it, it should not be above it, it should be right where the ear starts, here, like that. So I'm just going to use a bit on the ear brush, and I'm slightly going to dab it on like that. You don't want it to look too intense, and you don't want it to look like a very sharp line. You need it to look like just like a shadow on the skin, just to uplift the jaw, blend it upwards. I think this angle is better for you to see the contour. Now here's the contour, and I'm going to repeat the same on the other side. Suck in the cheek, it will help you identify the area which needs to be contoured. Again, above the ear, it needs to go above the hairline also, like a figure 3 on both sides, because otherwise it will look like a very sharp line. This will make it look like a shadow if you apply it, not if you apply it in a figure 3 shape. It will not look like a weird line across the face. It will look well blended. The same all over the jawline a little. So now you all can see the contour on both the sides. It's not too intense, it looks very natural also. It does not look like a weird line across the face. You need to blend it in with the skin very well. You can even use a brush, an angled brush like this, just to blend it up. Suck in the cheek, use the ear as a guideline, and do not use too much product. Always go back and forth for more. Build the contour, never apply too much product, but what happens is it will not blend equally if you use too much product at once. So always build the contour instead of just using too much product at once. Now for the nose, I'm using this brush by MAC. It's very precise, so it's easier to use on the nose. You can use a blending brush also. Now when contouring the nose, you have to make sure you start from here, from where the eyebrow starts, like that, and bring the line downwards. What this will do is, if this area is darker, it will make the eyes look wider, just like that. Don't use too much product. I'm using the same Hoola by Benefit contour on the nose also, and I'm going to blend it into the eyebrow like that. Alright, so once you're done with the nose and the cheeks and the contour is done, we're just going to highlight the center of the nose. I'm using this palette by Smashbox. It has a highlighter and a bronzer. This is a bit of an orangey shade. This is with a bit of gray in it. This highlighter is really good. I'm just using the same brush, and I'm going to use it in the center of the nose, right here. Now, people with a long nose should never highlight the tip of the nose, because it will make it look longer. If you have a punched nose or a flat nose, then you should go for highlighting the tip. Otherwise, you only need to highlight the bridge of the nose. Otherwise, the nose will look too big. I'm using the same highlighter over here below the contour, just to make it more precise. Now I'm using the same highlighter by Smashbox under the eyes also in a triangular shape. Now lifting it upwards because this will make the face look lifted and the eyes look lifted. Never just stop over here. Always take the highlight. This is the matte highlight, it's not the shimmery one, just to brighten up the under eye area. This is the powder one. I've already used the cream. Now it's the powder product. First I'm going to highlight the cheekbones with this MAC highlighter, mineralized highlighter, soft and gentle. And I'm using this brush by Real Techniques. It doesn't have a number on it, but it's called the setting brush. You can use a fan brush or you can just use a blending brush, whatever brush you're comfortable with. Just going to take a bit of it. Now the trick to apply the perfect highlighter is look at yourself in the mirror and see where the light reflects. Here, and that's the area where you need to apply the highlighter. Soft strokes, do not push the brush into the skin, just soft strokes. I'm using this blush by Bobbi Brown. This is a pink color. You can use whichever one you're comfortable with. I'm using a blush on brush by Makeup Forever, 156, like that. It's flat. You can use whichever brush you use, but this is a very good one. Tap off all the excess because the Bobbi. So now we need the blush on. You need to smile and apply it only on the apples of the cheeks and blend it upwards. If you have a round face, then only apply it on the cheekbones. If you have a longer face, you can apply it on the apples of the cheeks. So I'm going to smile. So it does not cover the contour, neither does it cover the highlight. It's in the center and just acting as a shade, just like a slight blush, and it does not overpower the contour either. So you're just going to tap off the excess in the same. Always place and then blend. Don't start blending right away. Place it, blend it upwards. And the mascara. So you're going to see a difference then also. Now just to get that flawless finish, we're going to use this brush just in circular motions to make sure that everything is well blended. Even with the full coverage foundation, you can get a dewy look. You can add face oil into the foundation, or you can apply face oil all over the face first. But because I used a moisturizer and this moisturizes my skin really well, so I don't add a face oil. Because I have combinations skin, so I try not to use the face oil too much, only when my skin is a little dry. Now we're going to move on to the mascara. I've just brushed my eyebrows with the eyebrow brush, and I'm using this mascara by Lancome. Lancome Grandiose. It's a very good mascara. I got it in the now this is the third one that I got after that, but I got this one in the gift bag by Mario after the class, and I love it. You don't even need false lashes after you use this. So now I'm going to apply the mascara. Now the trick to applying a mascara is you wiggle the brush slightly right and left, starting from the root, so that the lashes stay separated and they do not stick together. Just wiggle it right and left and take it upwards towards the ends of the lashes like that. You can curl your lashes also before you apply the mascara, but this mascara is so good that you don't even need the curler. So I've applied the mascara on one eye, this one. You can see the difference. This mascara is really good, and the eyelashes look curled also and voluminous also, and it gives length to the eyelashes also. If you still need to apply false lashes, I would recommend you apply individual ones instead of the whole strip, but I'm now going to apply the mascara on the second eye. So I'm done with the mascara on both the eyes. So I've done a second layer of mascara also. Once it dries up slightly, then you do the second layer. I'm just using a brush to slightly curl them up. Like this is a dry eyebrow brush. I'm just going to press it like that upwards, just the tips of the eyelashes, not the whole, more curled and more defined. So this is what the eyes look like. They're intense, smoky, and then they also make the eyes look wider. You don't even need false lashes with this mascara. I've applied black inside. Now the only thing left is the lips. As always, Kim's favorite, I'll be doing the nude lips with the slight tinge of pink. I'm using this pencil by Inglot number 27 as the lip liner, and I'll be using, so I'm applying this pencil as an outline, and I'm also filling in the lips with it. It's a very nice color. I at times just use it up. And now on top of this, I'm going to apply the Kylie Coco K, this one, lip contour. Yeah, this is the Coco K. It will give a nudie pink effect. So guys, this is the final look. I'm just going to set it with a setting spray. I'm using the MAC Prep and Prime. I'm just going to hold it at an arm's length and just apply it over the face. And let it air dry. Do not touch the makeup or try to press it and dry it. Let it air dry. Otherwise, the makeup will have streaks, especially the foundation will end up in streaks. So you just let it air dry. So this is the look. This is the complete and final look. I hope you guys liked it. So the lighting in the room was a little annoying throughout the tutorial, but towards the end it was fine. I'm glad it was. I'm sorry if it caused any inconvenience and if you could not see the shades. This is what the makeup looks like. If you liked it, follow me on Instagram for more details. It was a pleasure to be here and help you out and talk about my experience.